Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Super License F1 podcast. My name's Rodney.
And my name is Zach.
It's good to be talking to you, Zach, for the first time in this year, the year of our Lord, 2021. How have you been, my friend?
I've been very well. I'm really suspicious of any religious, especially Christian reference in the show, because I've recently found out that a couple of YouTube channels that I really like and other things are secretly either Hillsong, and look, if you're in Hillsong, fine, whatever. But secretly, hey, you're pushing a Christian agenda quietly as young people influencers, and I hate that. And if you came out as that, I'd want to put a big disclaimer on the show, what would the podcast name need to be? Super Jesus License, something like that. It would. Jesus Christ, Super Jesus. License.
I pitched it to you as a podcast that's about the band from Adelaide, the Super Jesus, but instead it's a secret message about religion that I've snuck in there. How are you? You took the show off the rails in the first minute. Very proud of you for doing that. Well done. My year's been good too. Thanks.
Yeah, I was looking at our Discord server. If you're not already looking at our Discord server, you can go and find it. Just have a look on our website or on our social media.
It's out there. We need to put it back out there again. Yes.
Yeah, it'll be in the show notes, I'm sure. Someone accused us of being in hibernation, and that was right. You're exactly
fair
right.
Play.
We were in hibernation.
You worked it out. I stopped caring, and I'm about to flip the switch back into care. So obviously this is our first episode for this year. We might be a bit rusty, but the plan for this week is an episode of Shakedown. So it's a short form version of the show. We will be doing a pre-season show where we will dive in depth into more stuff. But today it's just the top level of the stuff, the cream of the crop for now, but there'll be more cream later. And, you were talking about shows that you watch. I was going to warn you that we do usually end Shakedown with recommendations. So don't peek too early. Save those ones for later. But today we're going to cover off some of the news that's been happening. Most of that's going to be our thoughts on the liveries, whatever other news is kicking around. As I said, recommendations, and then that's a show, that's a Shakedown. So, if we want to bullshit a bit some more, that's fine by me. But if you want to get into these liveries, we can do that.
I was going to say, do you want to do a Rich Energy review to start off? So I can get jars.
We should do that, yes, because, we need to keep this amazing energy that we've created at the start of the show going. So, look, Zach, do you want to set this one up, or do you want me to go through? Is there anything I can say to set you up?
No.
Okay.
Let me set myself up to fail. So, Rich Energy. If you're new to Formula One, there's this company called Rich Energy who basically stole their logo from a nice bike company, but are hey, we're the Red Bull drink for fancy people and for really cool nightclubs and stuff. So don't just have Red Bull and vodka. You should have Rich Energy and vodka. And their CEO is quite bombastic and also an anti-masker, which I learned the other day.
Oh my God.
And they've been chatting up. Rich Energy on their social media have been because they sponsored Haas a few years ago, there was a big furor when they cancelled their sponsorship because they said Haas was underperforming, and Haas was like, who the fuck are you? Anyway, it's all kind of insane. And they've been talking a big game for the last 6 months about how they're coming back to the big show, man. They're coming back to Formula One, got a big sponsorship coming, and I've been waiting with bated breath to see who they were sponsoring as the car liveries just kept coming out every day this week, and there was no Rich Energy sponsorship anywhere. So I was watching their social media, and they retweeted a guy who was finally got my hands on some Rich Energy off Amazon. And I was like, hey, I've got Amazon. I live in London. I could see if I could get some Rich Energy. So I went on the Amazon app, got Prime. There they were. 1-star review from one person. It just says they're crap. So obviously this person that they're retweeting didn't like it enough to leave a good review or any review other than hey, I've got them. Only available in a 9-pack. So I have 9 cans.
Man, that's harsh.
Yep. They're all in the fridge because they recommend that you serve them chilled. They are made in Austria. Copyright 2015 Rich Energy, which I find a little bit weird. Caffeine content, I don't know if this is high or not, but it's 80 milligrams per can. It's not recommended for children, pregnant or nursing women, and persons sensitive to caffeine. I think I'm sensitive to caffeine. The can is not as gold as I expected. Also, the packaging was really weird. It wasn't in a nice box or anything, like a 9-pack box. It was just in the Amazon box. There were 9 cans inside, and There was like a
Okay.
little top leaf that said rich energy, and then underneath like a little bottom leaf. But like I was
Yeah,
expecting
right.
some, it was like maybe like sealed in plastic or something.
Okay.
I have no idea. But are you ready
so-
for me to crack this sucker?
Yep.
Or?
While you're cracking, I'll fill in with a bit of information. According to healthline.com, the average caffeine content per 8-ounce brewed cup of coffee is 95 milligrams. So that one whole can has less caffeine than a standard cup of coffee, if I'm reading this right. Having said that, though, you will get all kinds of other energy from other stuff. I want to understand too. If you could look at the can, is there any ginseng? Is there any guarana? Is there any other of those buzzwordy things that we think of when we think of like Red Bull and stuff?
I'll run them down. Water, sugar, glucose, acidulant citric acid, carbonic acid, taurine. There we are. Taurine's the one you're looking for.
Taurine, yes.
Taurine's the one. Flavoring, caffeine flavoring, apparently.
Well, obviously
Didn't know
needed
it
because there's like less than a cup of coffee worth of coffee in this thing.
Yeah, vitamin B6 and vitamin B12. All the Bs.
Oh, that one's
Bs.
good. B12 is
You
good.
need those Bs. It's very, very piss coloured. Like if your piss is this colour though, you need to drink more water. But like after a night out and you come home and the next morning and it's just, very yellow. That's what this looks like.
This might be a new low for this show.
It smells exactly like V.
Okay.
Not quite the same as Red Bull. And if you're not an Australian, you probably haven't had V. But yeah, it's got energy.
Is that an
drink
Australian
smell.
thing? Wait. Is that an Australian thing, V?
I think V is Australian. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I haven't seen it anywhere else.
But how would you characterize
energy
V
drink
versus Red Bull, for example?
I always thought Red Bull had more of like a syrupy, full flavor, and V. It was, it's the difference between Coke and Pepsi. Pepsi's got that bright.
Yes.
That's why Pepsi always wins the flavor test because it hits the palate in a way that people are like, oh, explosive. But people prefer Coke for a whole bottle.
I do agree.
Yeah. Okay. You ready for the first taste?
So you've had a smell. You've said it smells smells like V. Any other sensory things you can give us? How does it sound?
Well, I poured it
Okay.
near the microphone, so
Yes.
I hope you heard it.
I didn't, but okay.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully
It might have
it's in
picked it up.
recording.
I didn't hear it.
It poured okay, and then
Okay.
it's very. I mean, the whole thing feels like my first energy drink
Yeah.
things were when I used to go to school. We would walk past the Coles supermarket from the train station on the way to my high school, and I would often have like $1 coin, and you could buy like a bag of chips or like a 1.25 liter of off-brand cola, or you could get a Red Eye energy drink, and they came in a glass bottle. And they tasted vaguely of like raspberry, strawberry, those kind of fruit flavors. But wow, they packed a punch, as a child.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was at the time. And they weren't recommended for 15-year-olds, under 15s, and I was 12. They were really, really, really good. This 100% reminds me of that. Like all like sweet fruits at the front, basically no body, and a very clean aftertaste. Maybe this is why people like it with alcohol.
Do they like it with alcohol? I haven't heard that either.
I think that's what they're positioning themselves as being like the energy drink for
the one you mix with stuff.
Yeah. Have it with your
Interesting.
pop some Talisker whiskey in there. You got yourself a delicious, energetic, new fashioned, not old fashioned. This isn't your granddad's energy drink, Rod. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. There you go. That's the official verdict.
Yeah.
I can two things. I can't even tell you how jealous I am that you're doing that, and I don't get to taste it. But secondly, you said you poured it into a glass, and I'm imagining in my mind that you've got a nice long stem, very narrow, like a champagne flute. You're giving it a swirl. You've got a little bucket ready to give it a spit.
Oh, I should have done that, but I actually use they're from IKEA. They're the nice like V-shaped glass. I use them for beer tasting too because they trap the aroma in there. But it's very aroma forward. But yeah, the flavor just disappears. I can definitely feel it in my tummy though. Oh, that little bit of like
and you got
acidic,
9 more of these.
Yucky. I don't know what I'm going to do with the other 8 of them. Really. Like maybe should I try out of the can as well, just for the real experience? Like crush it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what you're going to do is maintain the chill of the can, which is how it's intended to be drunk. Hard. Compare and contrast from the glass.
People who don't know, we used to work together. And on the Saturday mornings that I would work at the Apple Mac store that we worked together at, I I would do training and then I would have my lunch break and go over to the service station, across the road. I think it was a BP.
It was a BP. We're not getting paid
sausage.
sponsored by BP. You could have just said the service station. It's fine.
They had sausage rolls and dim sims, and I would get a sausage roll, 2 dim sims, and a can of V or Red Bull, and those memories are flooding back to me.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
I feel like I've still got 4 hours of work to do, and this show is the opposite of work. So that is my review. Weird memories.
Wow.
Yeah, but don't spend the money. I mean, it was £10. So what's that? Like 400 Australian dollars? No, I think it's about 18 Australian dollars. 18 Australian dollars for 9 cans. That's $2 a can. What's Red Bull these days?
I have no idea. Probably $2.
Yeah, probably. I'm guessing. Although whenever I go back to Australia, I'm always like, I'm sure these Vegemite scrolls were like $1 when I left, and now they're $5.25. Like,
yeah, stuff costs money now, unfortunately.
Yeah, heaps of money. Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel this.
I'm wondering
going.
I'm wondering how open you are to this idea. You've obviously got 8 cans left, and you're obviously probably not that keen to drink it, but there's probably people listening who are like, hey, I want to have that horrible experience as Zach just had. How open are you to offers? And should we put them like, would I don't know if we want people to bid, but like, if anyone wants one and you're amenable to providing one, should they reach out, or would you nix that?
They can reach out. I mean, I don't know if am I allowed to post a drink? I suppose. Yeah, sure. I'm allowed to post a can, aren't I?
The year that we've had.
Yeah, if you want one.
Of course you can.
If you want one, and you're happy to, of course you can. Haha. If you want one and you live in the UK, because that's probably as far as I can post it.
I just thought someone that lives in the same area as you, maybe.
Oh, yeah. God, if you live in London and you want one, I will drop it off somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Or mail it to you. I will leave it behind the bench in the park of your choice, within a 5-mile radius of North London. Don't make eye contact. No words will be spoken, but I will drop it off.
Wear a yellow carnation.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to hold a can in reserve. One can.
You've got to have one to sell her.
Sorry. So I'm keeping one. I'm going to lie one down.
You rotate it every few months. Keep it out of the sun.
You got to twist the little tab as well. That's a really important step to make sure everything stays loose. But yeah, if you want one, hit me up in the Discord, or join the Discord first. If you're listening to this, you're not on the Discord. It's the only way you can get one. Join the Discord.
Oh, this is Discord exclusive. Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, this is Discord exclusive. There's one more point I wanted to make on Rich Energy, Rod. Interestingly, they don't have a registered trademark, it seems, for Rich Energy logo because they're using TM instead of R, which is very odd. But also, they have this little dumb logo at the bottom, which is established in cursive EST, MMX with half of a Union Jack underneath it.
MMX, but that's 11 years ago.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's very odd, right? That they would why would we care that they were established in 2010? Just say 2010 or don't. Like, it doesn't matter. But it's like they're trying to prove their own existence so hard.
Yeah. I feel like I've said maybe on the show before that I have like an idea for a podcast format that I have is let's just be the Google squad and someone will come up with a mystery and you spend the episode just Googling it. It's like you solve a mystery, but all from your computer, like catfish style sort of thing, but it's not a relationship thing. It's just a general thing. This is like, this could be episode 1. This is the pitch pilot.
I hope so. I would do that show with you.
There you go.
If anybody wants to, I reckon you could try and get some free cans from Rich Energy. I feel like if you tweeted them and were like, I love everything you do. I love your brand so much. It's an absolute travesty that you're not in Formula One. And we were so disappointed with how Haas treated you. Could you send me some cans so I could shield them on social media? That's what I should have done. I should have said to them, like, I paid for them like a chump. Actually, my partner, I was explaining this all to her last night. She was like, who is that Amazon delivery from today? And I was like, well, it's
a long story.
It's a really long story. She's like, why did you give him your money?
This guy, Gene Haas, right? He runs it.
He's anti-vaccine, anti-masker, like doesn't believe in coronavirus, wants to, like, doesn't, like a million
and
things.
I want to give him my money.
Yeah, and I gave him £10 minus Amazon's fee.
Congrats. What an amazingly good life choice you just made.
Yeah, well, someone's got. How else is he going to helicopter around without my money? Can't put Rich Energy in the helicopter, can he?
It probably runs on it.
Okay, do you want to know anything else about Rich Energy? I'm genuinely I never thought there would be a time in my life where I would not hate something but then not want to finish it either. I'm looking at it in the can and I'm like, I don't want it anymore.
I'm just so glad that we got to do this on this show. Like, I genuinely didn't think that we were going to get the chance because, number one, I didn't think the drink was ever going to come out. Number two, I didn't think that, like, I mean, I haven't heard any other podcasts, like, drink one on the show. I mean, I think I know people who have said, like, oh, I found one. Isn't it incredible? And they drank it, but it was like, it didn't become a thing. It was never like, here's my tweet thread about it. You know, it was just never a thing. But cowards. Also, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to, basically. Everyone's cowards. We're brave boys.
Well, I mean,
your turn
because
to talk.
Yeah, I know. It's first show. First show.
All right, yeah, that's true.
No, they are cowards. I'm glad that we could bring you this exclusive. Support us on Patreon. Buy our merch. And that's the show, everyone. Cheers. No.
Okay. All right. Anyway.
Should we go into some liveries then?
Oh my goodness, yes. This is all anyone wants for us to do is to move on right now. So let's get on to liveries. So if you didn't know, every year before the season starts, all the teams have a launch thing. Usually it's like the car, and especially if you're not a tech person, like if you don't care about the special designed WC29 widgets that they've redesigned for this year, which I don't care. What you really care about is the look and the look and feel, the overall look and feel, the compare and contrast to the previous year, and so on and so forth. And we're going to run down all the liveries, and that's to say we're going to run down all the liveries except for one, because at the time of recording, there's one that has not currently launched, but as Zach is about to cover, it is Ferrari. So what does that mean?
Ferrari. So it's going to be probably
red.
Probably red. Like you think of Ferrari.
Yeah. Think
that red. Yep. It's been more black recently. Like more tones of black.
No, got the inside word. No black.
No black. Okay. So no black this time. White, maybe?
Yeah, a bit of white.
No
yep.
white.
Yep.
A bit of white.
No, bit of white.
Okay.
Bit of white.
Okay.
Bit of white.
This is good.
Actually, a little bit of black as well.
Well, see, look at you. Cheeky. Yeah, so don't worry about it. Whatever you imagine a Ferrari looking like in your mind, that's what it will look like.
Unless it is radically different or some incredible livery that blows our socks off. We won't even mention it on the next show. I was going to say we'll just get to it on the next show. But look, it's going to be the stock standard Ferrari type car. If it's not, we'll cover it, but I mean, likely that it is. So let's get into the first car.
If that happens though, Rod, we'll do if it isn't.
We will do an emergency podcast.
We'll do an emergency podcast. I'll drink 7 more Rich Energies before that show.
And when they reveal that they are the key sponsor, they are now Rich Energy Ferrari Formula One, and the shape of the rear wing is the same shape as the logo on the front of the can. Then we'll do an emergency broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. You guys will be the first to hear about it. Let's talk about an energy drink company that also has a marketing arm, which is a Formula One team.
Red Bull Racing. And we're talking, I mean, it used to be that you would talk about their senior and junior teams. Now you talk about their sibling teams, but this is still, I feel, the prestige Red Bull owned team in the sport. Red Bull Racing, they've released their RB16B, which I think that means it's just a little bit of a tweak on the previous car. But what's important is the look of the car. And what you'll notice looking at it is that it's pretty samey.
It's pretty much the same. They'd be happy about having Honda on there still. That's good. But yeah, are we going to get a weird test livery this year? Did we get one of those? They haven't done them every year.
No, they come and go, I guess. I mean, yeah.
This is very normal.
We might though. I wouldn't be surprised if we did. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if we did. But this launch livery, which, I mean, I think this will be the racing livery. It's stock standard. I think it's a pretty good one. Over the years, it's been one of the better ones in recent times, but it's much of the same as previous years. One thing I always notice with the liveries is the choice of compound color that they put on the cars. It always complements the color scheme. You ever notice that?
Tell me more.
So if the color scheme is white and green, they'll put tires on the renders of the car that have the white stripe. This obviously, the Red Bull livery has some yellow, so they've gone for the yellow stripe on the wheels.
Soft mark tire.
Yes.
Or is no yellow, it's hard.
Now that I've pointed that out, that's all you'll notice.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so true.
Anything else?
One thing I would say, yes. So you can see above we're looking at
we're looking at photos. We understand you're not looking at photos, but imagine that you are.
Yeah, you've got the Red Bull on the side pod. You've got that red line going horizontally across the top. And then it continues underneath the halo and across the kind of what you would call that the bridge of the car, like in front of the halo. What's that the dashboard? Let's call that the dashboard. It kind of continues down that line. That line's new, I feel like. What do you think of that line?
Yep.
I think it's
fine.
fussy and there's no point of it being there.
Okay, cool. I feel like it's a line for the sake of a line. I think it's there to maybe draw your eye to the Red Bull logo, which previously when they had Red Bull and Toro Rosso, you could tell them apart because the one with Red Bull written on the side was Toro Rosso. That's how you used to tell them apart. But now obviously things have changed and Aston Martin are their own team now, so they can't put Aston Martin there. They have to put Red Bull on the Red Bull, which makes sense.
They used to put Infinity there as well years ago.
They did. But no more.
And that really pissed off Renault because Renault were like, we were building that fucking engine and you didn't tell anyone.
Yes. Is it a new logo, Telcel? Is that a Sergio Perez connection there?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah. Because Thingy Slim, who is the
Fatboy Slim
Mexican billionaire, no, but he's like
what? You're saying he's not a Mexican millionaire? Come on.
No, he could be billionaire, I would say.
There you go.
I think Telcel is
Carlos Slim.
Yeah,
is who you think
Carlos Slim. Is that right? Really?
Don't know. I think it's Carlos Slim.
I think it is Carlos Slim.
I don't think it's. Did you say Texas Slim? I don't think that's.
I don't think I said Texas.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm making up stuff that you didn't say, so that shows you the state that I'm in. I need one of those.
Let's move on.
Drinks, man. Let's move on. So look, I mean, I think the verdict Red Bull, much of a muchness, much the same. Nothing too exciting there. Maybe something that's a little bit more exciting is the Mclaren livery. We've been familiar with these basic colors, I think, but I feel like this livery design is a bit more squared off. It's a little bit more straight ahead. There's no interest in this livery in swoopy lines. Everything's very horizontal.
Yeah, it's one of these. I think it looks very much like, I was going to say like, F1 car, and obviously, but the reason why is that
I know what you mean.
None of the it's like they design the car, design the livery, and then they put all the stickers on. It's like, where are we going to put all these stickers? Let's put them all on the nose, and then let's put big one on the side. Like, it's just kind of, it doesn't feel like it's been beautifully graphically designed together and then laid on. It's just, everybody's there. It doesn't feel together. But I do like the papaya.
Some renderings might be different, but the rendering that we're both looking at, there's a big old gap right at the back there on the over the engine cover, potentially for, I guess, a major sponsor if they ever get one. Someone pointed out a little while ago that there was like a compare and contrast of the number of sponsors on the drivers' shirts themselves, the sort of casual team gear for McLaren. You go back to the Jenson Button and Fernando Alonso days and they were just covered. They were lousy with sponsors. And then you cut to sort of color signs and Lando Norris and it's like, maybe 4 or 5 and that's it. And I wonder whether, they've obviously, there's a little bit of sort of ambition in leaving that space clear. Like maybe there's like, it's a bit like the billboards that say, your business could be here sort of thing.
Yeah. Under the Dell Technologies on the
yeah, exactly. Right there.
The air intake. Yeah. Sorry, you might have said that. Yeah.
Above and behind.
There's a big spot
yes.
that could say Super License Podcast. You're exactly right.
Oh, tempting. Okay. Ooh. Anything else about this car?
Energy. Maybe that'll happen before testing. It'll say rich energy on there. I think Coca-Cola might have something to say with that. Did you want to say anything about everybody? Like, they've got a weird. We don't talk about the design of the cars very much. An interesting little nosy divot, where it says number 4 there. There's a little divot in the nose. That's just kind of like obviously aerodynamic. But I feel like everybody is doing nose stuff. Everybody's focused on the rhinoplasty of the car this year. Spent all their development tokens maybe on the nose, and it does look trim and nice and very skinny on the McLaren there. But I feel like it's like that on everybody's car. But we'll continue on.
Maybe, could be. I don't know. I mean, one of the problems with renders is that they control the light sources, and that's why there's no like light flaring right where there's a sponsor logo, stuff like that. It could be that all of these cars have that, but until we kind of see them in the flesh up close and personal, it'll be hard to tell. I guess we'll keep an eye out for that as we maybe roll forward. The next car in our rotation is the Alpha Towery, and if you asked me what last year's car looked like and then showed me this, I'd be like, yeah, that's the one. That's last year's car. I wouldn't know the difference.
I feel like there's more white this year. And then, maybe dark blue with white.
Behind the front wheels.
Lots more white accent. Yeah, definitely. Like it feels like the whole car is white with some blue painted over the top, as opposed to maybe the other way around.
True. That's true. And you see what I mean with this rendering, that the white tires are now on the car. How natural that feels.
I really like this. I think it's like the opposite of the McLaren car. Like everything is in its place. Maybe that's because they've basically got no sponsors. Like it's just Honda and AlphaTauri fashion. There's
they fill
literally
the space
else.
because they are the sponsor.
Yeah. And I really love the AlphaTauri logo on the engine cover, like with the bull. I think it looks really, really, really cool. And it's such a straightforward looking car. It looks like I don't know. What does it look like? It looks like a jet or something. I just really like, it looks more like a speedboat because of these colors. They're marine kind of colors.
I just feel like the really two color palette is a little bit, it leaves me wanting another color.
You got the red Honda there. I like that bright red Honda on the side. Yeah, true,
not enough. I would like a bit of red incorporated into the livery. If they're going to have the red Honda logo there, it sticks out. I mean, maybe Honda love that, but if I was designing this car, I'd be like, no, it looks, it's overdetermined, and I want a bit of red in the design somewhere, just a splash. But no, I'm denied.
I mentioned to you on Slack a couple of weeks ago that I've been seeing AlphaTauri fashion popping up. I mean, this was part of the AlphaTauri launch as well, that they had their drivers like dressed up all fashionable. And they launched the car in like a fashion store, and they were like, look, we're doing model poses, looking dead in the eyes, dead on the body, just standing up like we're mannequins. And I've been seeing football managers wearing AlphaTauri jackets. I've been seeing ex-video game show hosts and streamers wearing T-shirts of AlphaTauri.
I was pulling that up because my comment was going to be, you sent me the person of this quote-unquote famous person that I had no idea who it was, and now I'm looking at it, I obviously realize I sort of vaguely know who that person is, but I don't care.
Yes,
also don't care.
Stephanie Bendixson from Good Game fame, Hex, but also she's done lots of really cool stuff since then, but she was wearing an AlphaTauri T-shirt. Like, and it's not like they sent her like a cool fashionable jacket because she's like an influencer on Instagram or something, or Twitch. It's just an AlphaTauri T-shirt. She wasn't even talking about anything like AlphaTauri. She was just talking about, hey, I'm going to stream tonight. I was like, wow, that's just random. Why? Like, what do they, like, who are they? Who is their market? I have no idea who AlphaTauri's market is. But, they're popping up in all kinds of places. So
wait a second. So you're trying to tell me that you think that this photo that you sent me of her turning and facing the camera where the logo of the brand is clearly visible, you think that is, there's no connection to that brand?
Oh, no, there is.
So is that
But
your
I don't
point?
think it's got anything to do with this, I don't think did they sponsor the post? I mean, there's no hashtag ad here or anything like that. I think they've just sent her that T-shirt.
They sent her the T-shirt. They said, do this kind of post and we'll pay you $10,000 or whatever. Yeah, I believe they probably did something like that.
Definitely. But why, go and talk about streaming Valheim? Like,
it doesn't matter what she talks about streaming. It doesn't even matter. It's that she has a following of young people who are, perhaps a bit tech curious, might be into streaming Formula One games. And they're like, look,
there's a Red Bull can on the desk.
Kind of
I didn't see the Red Bull can on the table. And it's the diet Red Bull, the sugar-free one.
See what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Wheels
Again, this is episode
wheels,
2 of my mystery show.
I needed one of those lights
It's very cool. I'm glad that it's not a ring. Anyway, we should stop talking about that post that no one's looking at. Literally no one is looking at. We should move on to maybe the Mercedes, the W12. This livery, I think, has a little bit to talk about. Something we can get our teeth stuck into. It's obviously last year they were sort of running the traditional livery and then they switcherooed to all black livery, to mark their what would you say, corporate values, their concern, their statement of intent in supporting diversity within Formula One and just around the world, within their own organization as well. I think that's important to say. This year, they've finally actually said, okay, we're still going to have a black livery, but we can at least consider it a bit more this year. And this is what they've come up with.
Yes. I can't stop looking at the bloody tires now that you've mentioned it. And they put their weird teal color on the inside rims of the tires. I hope that stays, but it won't. Weird, but because that's just, I wonder how Pirelli feels about that. They're like, but we're not, that's, you're fucking around with our setup, our branding situation.
I'm sure the rubber, they're not allowed to change, but I'm sure that there's something that's like, you haven't said anything about the rims.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is really cool. I really like the teal swooshy thing down the side. I think that's rad. I hate the fade into white with the red Ineos branding because I know exactly how that stuff comes about, which is like Ineos last year. Like, we're a massive sponsor of yours. And we want to give you more money because Ineos is they're a chemical company. You might see them in your supermarket selling antibacterial sprays and gels. for, your pandemic use, your ongoing pandemic use, or just picnic use, really. Anything starting with P and ending with ick. But they've been like, all right, hey, we're way bigger now and we want to be in people's minds way more. Here's more sponsor money, but make sure we stand out way more on the car, please. I think it makes it look really crappy at the top there on the intake, on the air intake. So, yeah.
I feel like one of the objectives last year was to say, like, take our old livery and make it mostly black and leave a little tinge. And what they did, I think they had one of these similar black gradient type things, but what was revealed was sort of, just a little hint of like their traditional livery. This year, this feels like there's a whole other car, like there's a BAR Honda car here that they've just painted over the top of, and the guy doing the airbrushing just he ran out of time, didn't get to the top. I don't like the look of that bit mostly because it doesn't look like a Mercedes car. It looks like something else. If it was in the teal, maybe it might work a bit better, but, I mean, it's different. I feel like I've seen other angles of this car other than the ones we happen to be looking at right now that made it look a bit better than this. But, looking at this particular rendering, it looks a bit average. But I mean, having said that, we're going to be seeing a lot of it because it's going to win every race. Yeah.
Well, I wish maybe the driver number was in teal. I feel like that would tie that section together.
I guess so.
Also, just way more AMG. They've been Mercedes AMG Petronas for years and years and years now, but AMG, as far as a sponsor on the car, is everywhere.
Exactly.
Which good for AMG, I guess.
Very good for AMG. If it's good work if you can get it. Maybe we'll move on to the next car in our list, which is the Alfa Romeo. Now, this one in particular, I feel like this was maybe one of the ones that launched early, but it was one of the ones that really set don't expect too much from these new liveries because it's going to be more or less the same as last year. And I think maybe this one, the logo on we need to work out what this part of the car is called. I would call it the engine cover, but maybe some people have different,
the engine cover.
more accurate names for it. Where the sort of dragon swallowing the sword logo is and the background color, I feel like those colors are flipped from last year, but apart from that, I can't see any difference.
Yes, I think you're right. Weird that they just found this car in a warehouse. I don't know why
no
they
security that I can see.
Why they decided to set up the 3D render in a warehouse. Was that just one of the stock models that came with SolidWorks or whatever? Like
this is a tie-in for the launch of Portal 3. You didn't give me any.
Maybe it's a joke that your Alfa Romeo will forever just be in the garage because it's probably sitting there broken.
It could do.
So,
but if they can drop that thing from a height and then have another portal right in front of the finish line, brother, that thing's going to win a lot of races this year.
Maybe this is a hint at what the Ferrari will look like, which is probably. Like, Ferrari won't have this much white because if it does, they'll look basically exactly the same.
There you go. Well, I said it's only going to have a little bit of white, a little bit of black on the Ferrari. I told you that. That's true. They've missed a huge opportunity here to have the white wall on the Pirellis there. Going with the yellows, huge mistake. Big mistake. Someone lost their job over that, I'm sure.
I hope so.
Anything else? You hope so. Boy.
Yeah, I was just sorry. I was just jumped out at me at some of the notes that the person who put this article together of all the pictures has mentioned is the the black underside, which does make the car look quite slim. Like I just saw that they pointed that out. There's a lot of black for the around the side pods and the underskirt of the car. It does make the whole thing look quite light. Which I suppose it juxtapositions against the red and the white and makes that really pop and stand out. But yeah, fine. I've liked the Alfa Romeo branding and livery in Formula One. I think it always looks good. But yeah, it's more of the same. So I continue to like it.
There you go. That's true. That's very, very true.
Now for this next one, Rod, I'm just going to pull out my phone and put I'm just going to launch
Bloody
the app.
Can't even tell you how triggered Zach is about this.
I can get the augmented reality going so that I can look at and explore the build and the livery of this beautiful new Williams.
Paint the picture for us.
Oh, wait. I've been hacked. All my data is gone. I've been owned. All my bases belong to you.
All of my information now belongs to Rudy Giuliani.
Of all guys. Rudy.
Who knew? We're talking, of course, about the Williams, and obviously they had a spectacularly unsuccessful launch where they were planning to have a virtual experience where everyone has an app where you could my understanding is you could not only tour the car in augmented reality, but also place the car in a real spot, like put it in your driveway and you could look at it or whatever. For some reason, it all got hacked, got pulled at the 11th hour, and nobody could enjoy any of that hard work that they'd put in. Obviously, that's terrible, and I'm laughing, but that's obviously what is going on with the world that happens. But also, it was also a little bit, I guess, of like, boy, you really, really tried hard there and it didn't work. And for whatever reason, Schadenfreude people, less kind-hearted people than myself find that stuff very funny. But anyway, getting to the actual, is there any more? I want you to get this out of your system about this AR thing not working.
No.
Is there anything else you want to say?
It was dumb.
You downloaded an app and it didn't work, and all of a sudden,
for their comms, for their comms team, and that sucks. I wish it had worked because it was cool. I genuinely thought it was an interesting thing to do. Stupidly, I don't know why they needed everybody to download an app. They could have just done it as a web experience, because everybody's just got like anybody on a phone for the last 5 years can do augmented reality on their phone in browser. So you didn't need to download an app. Weird. But that would have looked good. Vanity metrics. Look at all the people who downloaded our app, and then we can continue to push Williams related news to them in an app experience. I can just see, as a marketer myself, I could definitely see how that was sold internally. But I'd like them at least trying to do something interesting. But that leads me, Rod, to the livery.
So the livery. I think this is the big story because it's one of the biggest differences between last year to this year. It obviously then, beyond just saying points for not just copy pasting last year's car, you then have to look at it and say, what do I actually think about this? I'm having all kinds of new feelings. There's livery feelings where there were no livery feelings before, that kind of thing. They've got the wheels right in the render, white on the wheels. That's good. Tick for that.
Yep.
There's a real, I don't know if you get a sort of a shark vibe from this livery.
Ooh.
And I'm not sure what I'm basing this even on, but I just look at this.
Racing shark.
It's the little slats down this, again, on the engine cover. There's sort of I guess it's a blue, a dark shade of blue and a lighter shade of blue. And I'd almost describe it as like piano keys, something like that. But I'm getting sort of fins. I'm getting like, gills. And overall, this is a livery in 3 parts. There's the front part, predominantly white. The middle part, predominantly blue. And the end, the prestige, you might call it, black. So, yeah, I mean, I like a livery that tells a story. I guess my concern about this is that it doesn't look like an F1 livery in a bad way. You know what I mean?
Yep. I think it looks like a video game that is like, we're Formula One.
Formula One, exactly.
Formula
Chase.
Yeah.
With our 2 drivers, Jeffrey Driver and Justin Steering Wheel.
This is Jim Russell. It feels like the kind of there might be, build your own team and there's like 6 liveries that you would choose from, like that you could change the style, the pattern, and then you would pick your own colors. And this feels like one of those that you would you choose piano pattern. It's called Piano Ragazzi. And then you flick with the colors and you're like, I want blue, slightly lighter blue and orange. And that's pretty much what I want. And I'm done. Like it doesn't, I have no idea where it comes from. Maybe the app was going to tell me like what the purpose of it was.
Going to have a hologram of Will.i.am telling you all about it.
What it means to him. Maybe are these the colors of Acronos or Lavazza? Like, is this someone's brand?
Oh, wait. So is there a branding Lavazza thing with those kind of stripes on it or not?
Google.
Yeah.
Let me go to Google.
Something makes me feel like there's like the gold Lavazza bags of coffee with something like that on it. I might be wrong.
Okay, well, it's Italy's favorite espresso, according to Lavazza. They're from Torino, 1895. Oh, there's a 2021 Lavazza calendar. They also sponsor the tennis. Looking at the bags now. Looking.
It's sort of a gold bag with a big black stripe down there. You might call it a racing stripe, but I don't think this is what I'm thinking of. I think this might be a red herring.
I mean, it looks like the Lavazza Decaffeinated brand. They're the 2 blues. Yeah, if you Google Lavazza Cafe Decaffeinato, that's them. So Yeah,
Really, Williams
feel like,
lately have been the
Yeah.
decaffeinated F1 team, haven't they?
yeah, it feels right, doesn't it? It feels right. What are the? Oh, it's the Williams W on the right on the top of the engine cover there. I was like, what is that? But
With the other stripes going
Williams.
across, it's very confusing.
It's horrible. Well, it's horrible. The more I look at it, the more I hate it.
It looks like it would have been a good design in the early 90s. It would have been really at home.
Yes. Oh my God, it does have that vibe. This is very vaporwave.
It's very
Yes.
vaporwave.
Oh man.
I mean, is that a good thing though? Is it like, you waited the 20 years and you brought it out? Well done.
It might be like it. Yeah, I can't get past the fake video game thing. It looks like it would be on the front. Like it looks like you would go to an arcade and there would be, Formula Racer. And this would be the design like over the, the logo would be over this design. I'm sorry, Williams. I both love and hate this. I love you for doing it. I hate it.
Your livery is bad and you should feel bad. And for that reason, it's a no from me. We've got one more livery, which I would classify as like, has a continuation from previous years. And then there's two completely new liveries that we still have to cover. So I don't want to keep moving. We'll kick on next to Haas, the US entry in Formula One. If you're a US listener, congratulations. This is your team that we're talking about. You might be wondering why people don't make a bigger deal about your team, which is clearly the best team because they're the only American one. But it's time for us to talk about the livery. So pay attention and wake up. This year, boy, it's like Captain America threw up on this car. It is all red, white, and blue. So gone is the sort of very muted dark grays. And in its place is a white, red, blue, swoopy, swipey, swooshies. I get a bit of a United Airlines kind of feel from this. But obviously they're very America heavy.
That's what they're saying. It's definitely Russia, though. No joke. WADA is looking into this. The World Anti-Doping Authority is looking into whether they're allowed to have this livery or not, because Russia is not allowed to have World Championship sports people representing Russia in World Championships for the next 2 years because of doping problems at the 2014 Olympics. So this is 100% Russian livery, but Mazepin is not allowed to race under the Russian flag.
I knew that he wasn't allowed to race under the Russian flag. How do you look at this livery and go red, white, and blue? Obviously Russia. Because when they're an American-owned team. Because America doesn't usually do the white as much, but Russia 100% does. And that's what Uralkali, and that's what basically all their money is coming from Mazepin's dad. And it's 100% Russia. Well, look, I mean, this will play out. Obviously, I think that's absurd. And if I owned the team and I was served papers based on those grounds, red, white, and blue, except traditionally people don't do that much of the white, and you are. So sorry, but he's an incredibly, I mean, I don't know, it might be right, but I just think that's incredibly weak grounds to launch an investigation of that sort. Anyway. That was
the first thing I thought of when I looked at it. I was like, oh, the Russian flag. Right. Because the Russian flag, I mean, look at the engine cover. And you know where it says the racing number 47? So
yes, it does.
White, then blue, then red from top down. That is the Russian flag.
Well, okay. Well, this will be decided.
In order, every time.
I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying we're talking colours here, and we're talking about three colours. Lots of flags have those three colours.
And you know what? Lots of liveries have these three colours.
That's true.
But yeah, someone just put the Russian flag a couple of times on this car. It's amazing.
Well, I mean,
good on them. And you know what? Nothing wrong with that. You're allowed to do that, except not this.
Except you're not allowed to.
Well, WADA said that, but what's the World Doping Authority got to do it with anything Formula One car livery related? Okay, I mean, what's the problem here, guys?
Look, what do you think? You control the world? Do you think that that's your jurisdiction just because you're WADA? Jeez.
And you got to love Haas for being the most Formula One team. Right, they've got a driver who, quite rightly, is in trouble for his
might
actions.
Get to that on the next episode.
Yes, which we definitely will. They're not Merkley owned, but definitely most money coming from that driver's father, and seemingly held together by I don't really know what. Like, I really don't know what Haas is doing in Formula One anymore. It's really odd. and could probably be called a failure as a coming into Formula One and doing anything. I mean, there are lots of teams who have failed in Formula One, but it just feels. This is what I mean. They're the most Formula One team in Formula One right now. They have internal turmoil, external turmoil, and here they are with their Russian car turning up to Formula One. And good luck to them.
No, good luck to them? I don't know about that. I think moderate luck to them.
Some luck. Just luck to them.
Well, look, that livery obviously has an asterisk then as well on it. So, we'll have to cover that later. Stay tuned. Let's move on then. We've got 2 cars remaining, the Aston Martin and the Alpine. So, Aston Martin.
Gonna have some more rich energy drink.
Very good, very good. You didn't need to mention that, but I'm glad you did. So, look, Aston Martin coming into Formula One with their traditional colour scheme. Even though BWT, the former, what would you call them, title sponsor of Racing Point, have to doing so many mental backflips trying to remember all this stuff. BWT, the pink brand, obviously, heavily influential on the livery of the previous car, which this one was, which was Racing Point. Pink is gone. They've retained the Aston Martin green, which is good. I think there's a little bit of pink on the car, but predominantly, I guess the concern was, oh no, we were all looking forward to the Aston Martin green and it's going to come out and it's going to be all pink, but it's not. It's green and, it's very green. It's predominantly green. Boy, this is a green car.
I don't think it's green enough. I'm not joking. I think this is a very weak, murky, tealy green.
I think
this looks so much like the Petrobras. Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like if you go and look at the fan ideas of what the racing car was going to look like, it's very much that forest green, a Ranger green.
Right, sure.
Whereas this green is Petrobras teal from the Mercedes.
Well, I wonder how it'll look on the road, and I'm sure I don't think we'll look at it then and go, well, what's with that teal car, On the track, on the screens and as it lights up our TV screens, we won't be thinking anything other than that's the green car. I think this rendering is particularly bad. And my main criticism of this livery is they were like, we have one rule, has to be green, and rule 2, there are no further rules, and no one had any more thought to it than that. They would just hit the little paint from that bucket of paint pouring over the side, fill the design of the car, and done. Job done. Let's all take the rest of the day off. This is a boring livery, is my complaint. I'm
glad that we've got a green car in Formula One, though. It'll be easy to recognize. It's easy to understand. It's there. It's not blue and white like seemingly every other car on the grid. Maybe they're going for that. Good. This is the car that, if you're watching with your mates and they're like, I don't know, all these liveries are also confusing. I just want a simple one. I just want to look at the green one and go, yay, my car. All I can say is it's nice to have Jaguar back in Formula One. Should we move on? Yeah, we should move on. Alpine is the last car we're going to be talking about. Talking about a blue, white and red car. Ooh, there's another one. This one I would say looks like a Formula One car from the modern era. I would give it that. Yes. Predominantly blue. Very, very blue. No concerns about being confused for a Russian car here. French car. Blue, white, red. In that French order. The tricolour. So I should say that when it was announced that Renault were going to be changing to Alpine, I didn't realize it was pronounced Alpine. I thought it was Alpine. And I assumed that this was some effort from the French government who owns Renault to say, or, majority stake or whatever, Renault, blah, blah, blah. It's government owned thing. They're going to be like, Alpine. Think of the French Alpines. And I don't even know if that's a thing, but I think skiing, I think slopes, Alpine skiing stuff. And I thought the livery might have some mountains on the side. Ooh. I'm disappointed there's no mountains. But then again, this was all based on a thing that I completely misinterpreted anyway. So I've set myself up for disappointment. I thought it was going to have unicorns on it, and it doesn't, and that's bad. But it almost does. Look at the back again at the engine cover. Doesn't that look a bit like a rocking horse or something? Yes. Yeah, I can see that. Just imagine a little horn coming out of there. You got a unicorn. Yeah. Yeah. I think this is a good livery. It reminds me of the old Toro Rosso Red Bull Cola car, really shiny. Looks like a can, like an aluminium. This car is made of aluminium, and it looks fast. It looks racy. There's something I'm really excited to see this car, hopefully, around the front, challenging, the front, two teams, I suppose, Mercedes and Red Bullion. And I think it's going to be super cool at those night races. It's going to be all shiny stuff. This is the thing. recently, ever since Red Bull did it in like 2015, where they moved to that matte paint finish.
Yes.
And all the other teams over the next like subsequent years were like, oh, we're going to do that too, actually. It's really cool. And now, like, I miss the super shiny cars. And this one is super, super, super shiny. And I know this is a render and blah, 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 blah. But I think it looks fucking cool that it's so shiny. And I like that it's almost pearlescent, the color scheme. The blue goes, I think maybe they pearlescent yeared it up. So it can be purple sometimes and much lighter, like tealy blue in others. I think it's going to look rad. And I think that Fernando Alonso is going to look really good in it. In his Kamoa. But is there any Kamoa on the car, actually? Can you see any Kamoa logos?
Oh, that's a good call. I think there might be one. I haven't seen it. I know that there is on his logo, on his helmet. That was released as well. There must be one on the car somewhere. I mean, come on. There must be. I'm sure it's a condition of them signing him as a driver.
Yeah. I mean, does anybody own any Kamoa stuff? If you own Kamoa stuff, tweet at us, please, because that's a brand I've never seen in real life.
The good thing is I can refresh that idea that I had for having a hat with, instead of Kamoa, it said quinoa, and that idea died when I was just about to do it, and then Fernando Alonso announced he was going to retire, but now I can do it again. But I mean, the thing I would say about this car is it looks like a racing car, which I really like. And I don't know exactly how to define what that quality is, but the livery looks like a racing livery. I feel like it's as you run your eye from the front to the back, you get different thoughts and concepts. There's different shapes. There's different collections of things going on conceptually. And I like that in a complex modern livery. If I don't get that, it doesn't feel like a good racing livery. So, that's probably, I mean, if I were to retrofit that to all of my commentary about all these liveries, that might hold up. Is that if you run your eye from the front to the back, you want to think different things, not here's the same thing all the way from the front carried through to the back. I want different concepts and approaches and shapes and different attitudes, not in the Williams way, in the Alpine way.
Yeah, they're accentuating its curves and its design and all that kind of stuff.
I love when
really
people
nice.
accentuate curves.
I took the car name and put it into Google and went to images, and the second image is of it like superimposed with some mountains behind it, with the French Alps behind it.
There you go.
Maybe that's where you got it from. Well, like the fourth image is like it's sitting
they got it
in
from
the
me.
Alps.
They got it from me. The other way around.
They're listening live now, and they quickly did some renders.
We done with liveries?
I reckon we
so
are.
too.
Do you have a favorite, Rod? Out of all of them, do you have a fave? Putting you on the spot in the hot seat. Ronnie Gordon.
Quickly
What's
flick
your
up and
fave?
down these.
Doing the same. Definitely the Red Bull. It's the same. It's my favorite as usual. Big Red Bull stands over here.
Still loving the Red Bull, hey? It might be the Alpine for me. Yeah, Alpine.
Yeah. Wow, it might be Alpine for me as well. We can't have that though. Just flicking back through, Aston Martin not green enough, Haas not America enough, Williams looks like fake. Alfa Romeo is the same, just someone press invert on Photoshop and put it in a garage. I do like it, but I've liked it before and I can't like it again. Mercedes, you're not allowed to like Mercedes. The McLaren looks old.
Ferrari, non-existent.
Ferrari doesn't exist, so that's definitely not my fave. AlphaTauri, there it is. It looks like a Formula Ford or something. Like it just looks like from a different age. I don't know, something about that navy blue and white. I think it's nice. It looks big though. Cool. You know how I don't like the cars looking really big? You know what? Actually, in comparison, the AlphaTauri image that we have here in front of us, that the listeners don't have, but you can go to this article too, looks really like square and flat and like lots of sharp angles. Whereas you compare that to the Alpine, which is like, I'm curvy and like there is not a straight line on me anywhere. Like everything is, rounded. It couldn't be more different. But I think I like that about the AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri, sorry.
This AlphaTauri looks like an X-Wing.
Yes, maybe that's it.
It's
got Star Wars vibes to it. You're right,
it's got Star Wars vibes. Right.
Yes. Yeah. Get Mando in there.
It's got Jedi aura.
Mando. Yeah.
There you go. We broke it down. Zach,
that's it.
That can park liveries. Actually, you should tweet us or get into the Discord and tell us which of the liveries you think is your best. That's probably a good thing to do. See, that's engagement. I just thought of that just now. I'm such a pro. You should also do a couple of other things and we'll quickly rattle them off and then we'll wrap this baby up. One thing you want to do, obviously join the follow us on Superlicense. We're at Superlicense. Join the Discord where when you follow us at Superlicense on Twitter, you'll see a link that sends you to the Discord. And then you also want to sign up for F1 Fantasy. Now, we usually leave it way too late in the year to remember to do this. And the day before the first race, we're like, oh, the link. Obviously, we're not going to do that. Obviously, we've all got it all ready to go.
Yeah, look, which I do. FantasyGP.com. So you just go to FantasyGP. That's FANTASY GP .com.
Yes.
You go
is
to
this
that website.
HTTPS://
Yeah, it's got all the security
Right.
measures.
Do I do this in Google Chrome or?
Yeah, sure. Incognito, so
I'll do it
Google
now.
doesn't know who your team is.
No, can't do it.
They'll steal it. FantasyGP.com. You go there. If you've had a team before, you just log in and go activate team. I don't know why they make you activate your team, but you just do it. And then they're like, hey, you can change your team name later. So don't worry. But you know what? Keep the same name team as last year, unless you've got a better pun, because we will read the best puns out on the show like we always do.
Yeah. But surely if you already had a team name, you can just go in and change it. The idea is, though, plant the seed now. Get those puns happening.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you join. And then in the show notes today and on the Discord and on our Twitter and all that kind of stuff, you'll be able to find our league that you can join. And look, you just join the league before the start of the season. That's easy. But the point is to get on it now because it's really fun. On every show, we list who the big movers and shakers are, who came first, second, and third of that weekend, of that race, but who's also coming first, second, and third overall. Rod and I have a little cheeky bet between ourselves. Whoever scores more points at the end of the season gets the rest of the Rich Energy cans that I've got. Don't know who the winner is there, really. And you get to pick your drivers, and you get to pick your teams, and then each week you could go in there and you could change them up, or you could not just leave them like me, because I don't know what's going on, so I just leave them and hope for the best. Because whenever I change them, those drivers end up crashing. And you get to put predictions in as well. And you get to score points and you get to compete with your friends in the Super License universe. And we just really want you to join because it's really fun. And they don't sponsor us or anything. We just really enjoyed their service. FantasyGP.com.
Outstanding. Incredible. I love it. Brilliant. Well, I think that we've done due diligence, which is not easy for me to say at this time of night to say that phrase. We've done due diligence to the Fantasy F1 League. Again, if you were in there before, just keep it going. If you've never done it before, if you used a different fantasy league and it sucked, just consider using one that doesn't suck and join the one on fantasygp.com and join our league. What else should we talk about? Well, what is the plan for us and doing shows? Because there's going to be a little bit of testing coming up. Normally, we would wait till after testing to do the preseason show. I think that's still the plan. And obviously, this is, in theory, this is Shakedown, a nice little, easy to manage, short listen. It hasn't turned out to be this way this week, but that's okay. Next time, it will be presumably our season launch.
Yes, so testing is happening, I think, somewhere like the 12th to the 14th, I want to say, of March. That's this time next week. And we will be recording shortly after that for our pre-season show. We'll be talking about who we think is going to do well. We'll probably have some predictions for the whole season. We'll be putting our reputations on the line by saying, hey, who's going to be really great? Who's going to win the World Championship? It's going to be Mercedes. Who's going to do better? Probably Ferrari. Who's going to do worse? Probably Haas. Because we're mean. And then we'll talk about the drivers. We'll talk about all the news that's come out between seasons. We'll talk about sprint races that probably won't happen, but part of the thing. We'll talk about all that kind of stuff. And we'll also preview the first race in Bahrain, where apparently everybody's going to get vaccinations if they turn up, which is pretty cool.
Ooh, pretty good.
And that first race is on the 30th of March. You know what happens, Rod, apparently, between testing and our first episode and the 30th
Your
of March?
birthday?
No.
Oh.
Good guess.
Is it your birthday there?
No, May.
Damn. Okay.
That's okay.
What happens?
Apparently Drive to Survive's coming out.
Oh, but brother, did you watch the trailer? Because it's rumored.
I did. It's
Someone,
good.
obviously last year when the Australian Grand Prix got cancelled, everyone was like, oh, I can't wait for the next season of Drive to Survive. It's going to be amazing. And I said then, you know what? If we get a season, it's probably going to be 5 minutes of the first episode and then it's just going to be straight into whatever the first race ends up being. And I got a feeling based on the trailer that might be what it is.
Yeah. I think
but that's good
true.
because it focuses on the racing. And I mean, just the trailer brought to mind how much coverage they get, how many stories they collect, not just from the Mercedes and the Ferraris and the Red Bulls, all up and down the grid, all the action, all the thrills and spills. And we've always loved that they do that they don't just focus on the championship, every single episode. Exactly. They have episodes about the little smaller teams. We love that. And that's what, we're all about that.
Do you think, it was last year, to fill the gap between no racing and then when racing returned, we recorded a Dare to Swear where we did commentary over each episode and we watched them together as brothers, as podcast brothers.
Yes.
And we enjoyed them together. And they were the highlight of 2020 for me. What I'm saying is, can we do that again? If you have time.
So are you saying like in the gaps between training, pre-season testing and the first race?
So just off my F1 training. Just gonna drive down the track, do some F1 training. They used to do that. They don't anymore. Well, it's a real shame. Sorry.
Look, I think races. We just need to schedule. We just need to schedule that out. Or are you saying you just want to start, at the first race and then just finish when we finish? Is that what you mean?
Well, the thing was, maybe, because last year we watched them all separately and then we went back and it was a second watch for us.
But it was also like, why wouldn't you binge the season? Why wouldn't you do that?
Exactly. I'm going to do that. That's probably just going to one day, just going to mong out with a couple of Mars bars.
That word in a long time. Rich energy, bang.
It's rich energy and really just fucking power through. One night, all the Drive to Survive, Dare to Swear. I reckon we eat them all up, yum, 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 and then we... we record. We'll do a commentary 1 week, like every second week or something for the rest of the year. How does that sound? That sound fun?
Maybe that sounds fine. That? I feel like what I was going to say is in the first, normally if one would start sort of mid-March or whatever, but by the end of April, you'd have at least 4, maybe 5 races done. This year it's going to be 2 races. I think we're just squeezing in 2 races in the first 2 months, as in March and April. And then, boy, that back end of the calendar is going to be absolutely packed. So I wouldn't be against just picking a start date, and I'm not sure exactly when that will be. Might even be before the first race of the year. And just saying, starting from now, if there's no race, we will do an episode and just go until we get the season done. But we'll probably be done by mid-season around then, if we do that.
Yeah, let's do that because we'll do our preseason podcast after testing, and then we'll also have another week before the race. So we could do a Drive to Survive Dare to Swear episode 1. Let's do that.
All right, cool. Season 2 Dare to Swear of Drive to Survive season 3.
Yeah, because then there's basically a 3-week gap between round 1 and round 2, so we could do a couple episodes between them as well.
We normally work out this stuff off the podcast, but I mean, this is being sprung on me. I'm not against it, but I'm just, thanks for bearing with us while we sorted that out. So look forward to Dare to Swear returning season 2 later this year, coming in your podcatcher of choice.
Should we put a trailer together for our Dare to Swear season?
Yes. Yes, I'm doing that. Leave that one with me. There will be a Dare to Swear season 2 trailer of the highlights. It's going to be highlights from our previous season. And it won't be about the coming season. Oh no, this is a meal, but I'm still going to do it because why not?
And once that's done, please share it. God, once it goes out, we need hashtag Dare to Swear. Amazing. Yes,
stupidest thing ever. This trailer is going to be the best. Okay,
retro trailer.
So anyway, thanks for listening to all of that. Is there anything else that we need to do? We need to wrap up with recommendations. But other than that, this show is cooked. It's done. I'm absolutely cooked.
Okay, so I'll start us on recommendations. There's a show that I'd never watched. I'd only watched the British version, but I've never watched the US version. It's called The Office. I've watched all of Netflix because I've been in a pandemic and in lockdown for a year. I've been working from home for now a year, and I got a Roku streaming stick, and one of the things that it does when you press Netflix on the sign-in screen, like pick your user, there's a button that just says play something. And Amber got frustrated the other night. It was like, I don't fucking know what we're going to watch. So she just hit the play something button, and The Office started. And I know of The Office. I've seen the British Office, but I've never watched the American one because it just felt like a Herculean task, right? There's 5,000 episodes.
That's true.
And I feel like I've seen every meme about it. I was like, am I in for this? Am I down? And it started. And you know what, Netflix? You got me right. You got me so right. It has just become our default show. Instead of watching Peep Show again from the start for the 1 millionth time, now I'm watching The Office, and it's very funny. And if you're young and you haven't seen it, because I'm just saying, you can watch it if you're old too, but if you're young, there's a chance you haven't watched it. If you're listening to us now, I'm thinking of you, Fernando Campos. You're young. You're the only young person in Formula One I know. Maybe Luke Smith as well. He's young. Go and watch it. It's great. What about you? Watch anything cool?
I exclusively watch shows that are not cool. Sorry. I won't go into my Netflix watching habits. But I've got a couple of podcast recommendations. Obviously, you're listening to this, so you must be into podcasts. And if you're not already, just while you're refreshing, waiting for Dare to Swear season 2 trailer coming soon, I've got a couple of other recommendations. Number one, the one I wanted to recommend is a show from Axios, which is a US political organization, a podcast called How It Happened, which is about the last era, the Trump era. It kind of wraps it all up. Obviously, we lived through it and it was horrible, but this is I found it very cathartic to listen to the build up to the charge on the Capitol and all that stuff. And it really kind of draws a line underneath it, but it's hosted by, the guy, I think his name's Jonathan Swan. Yes. I get him confused with Norman Swan because Norman Swan is Australia's chief medical, head officer person, and his son is this other guy, and he's in the US doing the interview with Donald Trump where they're passing bits of paper back and forth and he's looking at him confused. He's the guy from the meme. He also hosts this podcast. Yeah. He hosts this podcast called, You Know Me From the Meme and Now Hear Me Talk. No, it's called How It Happened. And it has lots of insider. He did a lot of interviews on Deep Background, which means he can talk about what happened, but he can't say who told him. And it's the story of the decline, basically. I found that really cathartic to listen to. So that's one recommendation. But if that is too heavy, if you've ruled a line under that and moved on, I completely understand. If you want something else, I've got another backup recommendation, which I've been sitting on for a little while. There's a podcast called Assembly, and it's about the creation of creative projects, big things. Season 1 is about an album by Iron and Wine, which I don't like, and I haven't even listened to that season. But season 2 of this podcast, again, the podcast is called Assembly. Season 2 is all about the creation of a comedy special by comedian David Cross, who I love, and heaps of interviews with heaps of funny people from a certain era, like Janine Garofalo, Bob Odenkirk, John Benjamin, all of those people who, if you Google them, you'll be like, oh, that guy, I know his face. He was in the US office. Those kinds of people. Yes, exactly. Did a whole season though about the build up. It goes through his career, but it's the climax, the apex, the prestige that he's building towards is David Cross recording and releasing a comedy special. So I found it really, really good, light listening, quality stuff that you can put into your ear holes and feel good for a little while, which we all want.
This is the only reason I come on the show, is because what people don't know is that Rod doesn't actually give me recommendations for content. He used to.
Do you want content recommendations?
He would just give me them as a friend. As a friend, you would give me a recommendation, and now I have to wait until we do bloody shakedowns. I have to do an hour of podcasting with you, and then I finally get to the bloody go listen to Assembly. I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted. This is what I'm here for.
Yeah, no, so highly recommend this one. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's just good, easy listening. You don't need, it won't make you feel bad. And I feel like we all want content right now that doesn't make us feel bad.
No, fuck that. Don't think too hard.
There you go.
Get cathartic, get involved. Stay safe and well is what I would say. Is this the end of the show? I feel like I'm transitioning to the end of this show, and we are
transitioning. That. Yes, we're about to move into the final phase. I'm about to do the awkward throw to you, where I drag my words and wait for you to give you a chance to say one last thing.
Yeah, all I'm saying is it's been a really tough winter for a lot of people, or summer, depending on where you are. I hope you're not too far away from a vaccine. They're all good, all of them.
Stay nice and close to one. Give it a hug.
I can't talk to Sputnik, but I can talk to all of the other ones that are good. I'm sure Sputnik's fine. I don't know. Read them. You don't need to really. Just look, if there's one available, take it, because it's good. You need it. And then you can get back to living your great, cool lives. And that might be going out and hanging with your friends, seeing your family, doing cool shit. And we're almost there. Oh my God, we're almost there. So stay strong and true. I feel like I'm channeling Michael Scott now. I'm just making it up. And stay safe out there. And if you're going into the supermarket, wear a mask. If that's what the law says, you should do it. Or if
you just feel like it, let's normalize that.
Yeah. Get a cool F1 branded mask. Oh my God, Rod, I just saw an Audi TT paramedics car drive down the road. An Audi TT, a sports car that was for paramedics. Just drive down my street. That's so random. I've never seen that before. And I stare out this window about 40 hours a week. Incredible.
Hoping to see an Audi TT, and they've done it.
Any final thoughts for you before we end the show?
I'm out of thoughts. I can't think of anything.
Great.
Time for us to wrap this baby up. But look forward to the proper pre-season show, which will include all kinds of great stuff that you need to know and that you and your friends need to know. So make sure you recommend the show to everybody and help us spread the word. That would be really nice. Until then, we will see you then and join the Discord where you can listen in to us record the podcast. And until then, till next time, till we do that, my name's been Rod.
My name's been Zach.
And we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
How do we work this out?
Should we do it at the same time?
We should.
3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah.
Not tricky, just you. Look, the problem needed to be solved. I came up with a solution. I don't understand what you